It's no secret. The current job market is intense. Amidst inflation, mass layoffs, and the rise of AI, it seems as though everyone's wondering, is my job safe? But there are industries that are future-proof. They also have a high growth rate, low unemployment rate, and major potential for career advancement. Our friends at Indeed did the heavy lifting for us and curated a list of 20 jobs with the most job security in 2024. And the best part, they all have an average yearly salary of at least $55,000. Visit the link in the description below to explore the list.
I'm a software engineer.
I'm a critical care fellow.
How long have you been doing it?
For about 6 years.
I've been doing it like 11 years,
Several years.
medical school, residency.
How much do you make?
There's like salary, bonus, and stock. So my base salary is like about 200, but with stock and everything, depending on how stock is doing, it comes to like about maybe 400 or 500.
What about you?
Well, because I'm in fellowship, right now my salary is around 76K.
What career advice do you have for others who are interested in your role? Like any skills that have helped you get here that you would recommend they learn?
Well, in terms of technical skills, learn how to code. Many people are scared to get into tech because they feel like learning to code is really hard, but you just have to find a way that works for you. Because like for me, learning to code was really difficult. When I started working on like projects, not just like reading books and doing what the book said or going to class and doing what the class said, but like thinking of like an actual project and trying to build it, because then you force yourself to learn things even not in like the book you're learning. Find what works for you with your learning. People learn differently.
You have to have like good communication skills. Obviously, to get into medical school, you have to be someone that, you love to read. You just have to be a dedicated person that, it's in it for the long run, basically.
So I'm a cardiac anesthesiologist.
How much do you make?
Well, it depends on the year. Sometimes it's around like 200, sometimes it's around like 700.
What makes the difference between 200 and 700?
It's how much I work.
How is your work-life balance?
I'm very lucky. I've got 4 kids. They're all older now. I've never missed anything of any importance with any of them as they were growing up. I'm one of the people that really cares about that.
How has your experience been in your field?
I'm super happy and I feel very lucky.
How do you get into this?
So after college, went to medical school and then did 4 years of residency in anesthesia. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, what kind of doctor I wanted to be. And then people told me, hey, a lot of people are going into this because it's got a nice work-life balance, depending on how you want to play it. So if you're like in a really big group, I'm in a very big group, that allows me and other people in the group to have more flexibility. Whereas if you're like a solo practitioner, it'd be really hard to do that.
What are the pros and cons of your job in general?
The pros are I get a lot of job satisfaction from taking care of people and what I do. And the cons are probably, it can be stressful, but I'm very lucky in the fact that I usually am more stressed with my kids not doing their homework than I am with what's going on at work.
What career advice would you share in general?
I think the mistake that a lot of people make is they do something because they feel they have to, and they're not happy and they're miserable, and that's not the way to be.
I'm a chemical engineer.
I'm a safety manager.
How much do you make?
300,000.
110.
How did you get here? How long have you been doing it? What kind of degree do you have?
So I have a graduate degree in chemical engineering. I have about 20 years of experience.
What about you?
Degree in clinical laboratory medicine. Did that for about 16 years and switched careers and just laboratory experience, people experience, and knowing the rules and following the rules, influencing people's behavior on a daily basis to do the right thing all the time.
What career advice would you share with anyone who might be interested in your field or just in general?
I would say if anybody want to go into STEM, degrees, study mathematics, science, engineering, get a lot of experience, do internships, get a diversity of different jobs to try to understand which one you really would like the most. So that's what advice I would give. And also get a mentor. So
I would say if someone doesn't want to get into the STEM fields, get a trade, electrical, plumbing, construction, because that's what the jobs are. Right now, computer coders are being laid off in droves. They're no longer needed. So get a skill instead of going to college.
I'm an attorney.
You're self-employed?
Yes, I am. I do criminal defense appointments in Kansas.
How much do you make on average?
That makes $120 an hour in Kansas, paid by the state for the Indigent Defense Fund.
How did you get into this? What brought you to law?
Well, I was in the Air Force, got out of the Air Force, teaching special education. You really can't make a living in teaching, but I had the GI Bill, so I went to law school.
How long have you been self-employed?
Probably about the last 7 months or so.
How's it going?
I think it's going really well. I think it really is.
Any career advice you would share with maybe a younger generation just graduating into the workforce?
I think the most important thing is find what you're passionate about and follow your dream.
I manage Transmission Energy Control Center for an energy company. There's absolutely no common day for me. It can be totally totally crazy.
Do you like what you do overall?
I do.
And what are the pros and cons?
Well, it can be very unpredictable. I worked all through my Christmas holiday.
Oh, no.
But on the other hand, I work with such a dedicated bunch of people. All the guys that work for me, they control the transmission grid in a certain portion of the company, and they're just all really dedicated, really smart people, and I love that.
How much do you make?
I don't know exactly, but it's a little bit more than $300,000 a year.
Holy moly, that's awesome. Did you negotiate your salary? How did you get up there?
No, I just have a lot of experience. I've been with one company for 34 years now. So
What advice would you share with anyone interested in your career or just in general?
always ask questions. I feel like I have not asked enough questions in my career, and be confident and go for what you really want to do.
How much do you make?
Guess.
90.
A little higher.
150.
A little higher.
2?
A little higher.
Tell me.
I'm a data scientist.
How long have you been doing it?
About 6 years.
Did you get a degree in data science? How'd you break into it?
I got a master's in data science and machine learning. But prior to that, I got an undergrad degree in psychology. But there was a big focus on statistics, which helped propel me into the master's.
I bet that was helpful. How much do you make?
About $245.
Holy moly. Is that total like base? What does that look like?
That's base and equity, not including bonuses.
Wow. And what do your bonuses look like on average?
Well, I wouldn't know because we're sort of in a bad economy, so there was no bonuses here. Actually, I did get a separate impact award, but that doesn't really count as a bonus, and that was worth about 40 grand.
Nice. And with tax?
I don't want to even think about tax. That's going to be rough.
What advice would you share with others who are interested in data science, want to work in it, or what have you learned in general?
I think one of the things people ask about is whether boot camps in data science are worth it or not. And I think they're only worth it if it helps you build out your own like personal projects that you can actually share. So you want proof of competency.
Like a portfolio?
So, yeah, like a portfolio. So even like upload your Jupyter notebooks on GitHub, your projects, some of your models on there, so that employers can see that you actually have applied what you've learned in these boot camps. But the content out there is very cheaply available, and I think it's worth doing, but I wouldn't rely solely on the certification to get you a role.
How's your work-life balance?
It's pretty good, actually. I think data science in particular is very well balanced, but it also heavily depends on the firm you work at.
I work in a healthcare company. I do healthcare tech, so artificial intelligence and machine learning.
How much do you make?
I make about $230.
Do you feel fairly compensated?
I feel very fairly compensated, and more than that, I feel like I make a difference in people's lives, which is unbelievable.
How long have you been doing that?
Oh, about 6 years.
How did you get into it?
Well, I was always in product management and internet tech, and actually it was through just a friend of mine, and he had an opening, and he invited me to come over and join him, so I did.
What are the pros and cons of your job?
Well, the pros are that I get to really meet and work with brilliant people that are really just doing some cutting-edge thing and to help healthcare be better, both in the clinical space, but in the insurance side, so it's just huge. And I guess the cons are that I never feel like I'm doing enough.
What career advice would you share with anyone in their career? Like, what have you learned in general?
I guess in general, take every opportunity you can to learn anything new, enrich your skills, up-level them, and keep your network alive. That's the most important thing.
I am in software sales.
How much do you make?
About $250K a year.
Do you feel fairly compensated?
Yeah, I would say so. Base salary and commission, but you eat what you kill.
How long have you been doing it?
This will be coming up on my 4th year now.
Did you get a degree in sales? Like, how'd you break into it?
So I went to Syracuse, did a poli-sci in economics, but just became an SDR right out of college, entry-level sales role, and worked my way up the ladder.
What are the pros and cons?
Pros and cons, great work-life balance. You know, it's really just an instinctual job in terms of if you know the right target and ICP in terms of who you want to go after, then it's a good market. But uncapped commission, easy work-life balance again, so I love it. Work from home every day.
What are some of the cons?
I don't think I have any. Yeah.
What advice would you share with new grads, or what have you learned in general?
New grads, if you're looking to get into sales, become an SDR right out of college, first entry-level sales role, work your way up.
I'm a consultant. A consultant accelerates projects and get things done.
Do you like what you do?
I love what I do.
How long have you been doing it?
11 years.
How'd you get into it?
I just fell into it, honestly. I heard good things about it and just applied and got it.
What's your educational background?
I have an undergrad in economics, and I also have an MBA.
How much do you make?
It ranges anywhere between $200,000 to $400,000.
Why does it range?
It's based on performance and utilization, so if you have a good year, your bonus can be almost twice your salary. It can get pretty gnarly sometimes, but overall it's been great.
Gnarly as in, what are the pros and cons?
Long hours, tough clients, and very short deadlines. Those are the cons. And the pros are working with smart people, learning new skills, and just doing something impactful. The advice for people who want to get into consulting and want to grow is I recommend definitely learning a lot, and don't be afraid to jump ship, because that's how you get more money. That's how you elevate yourself. don't be afraid to jump.
I'm a software developer.
How long have you been doing it?
About 8 years.
What's your educational background? What'd you study?
I finished high school and that's it.
How'd you get into it?
I was working at a call center and then I learned to program a little bit and then transitioned laterally into like a more analyst-y position, and then I got into coding a lot more and eventually worked my way up until I was engineering like at bigger companies and stuff.
Do you think anything worked to help you be successful? Any certifications you recommend?
I have no certs and I've worked at like really, I guess, prestigious companies, so I don't think it's that important. If you're self-taught, I think the only criteria for success is having like an obsession about like programming. You have to enjoy the problem-solving aspect of it. Otherwise, you are going to need like degrees and credentials and stuff unless you like really stand out.
How much do you make?
Right now, around like 250, 240.
Awesome. Is that like total compensation? Do you have like package?
It's 200 base, and then I got a 15K signing bonus. And then I have a side business. Right now it makes like 30, 40K a year. It's an e-commerce business. I sell like gift cards and video games on marketplaces.
Anything that you want to share with anyone else maybe who might be having trouble figuring out what to do or how to get into a career?
For software developers, the advice I could give is like there's so many business domains, like video games, scientific programming. There's just so many different directions you can go in it. Find the business domain that like resonates with you closest. And then you're gonna really enjoy the problem space a lot more and make yourself stand out. So find out whatever that is and hone in on it.
My total comp is $275,000 a year.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I work 100% remote. My name's Simone. I work as a senior federal technical account manager at a cybersecurity GovTech startup. I help all of our government customers install our cybersecurity product, make sure they're getting a lot of value from it, and then just make sure their systems are secure.
Can you break out the total comp based on like base and stocks and all that stuff?
So base salary is $175,000, so nice base, and then my bonuses is about $30,000 a year, and then the rest of that is all stocks. We're a pre-IPO company.
What got you interested in this field?
I grew up playing basketball, and I basically got into the field because I needed something to do outside of basketball, and I was trying to honestly figure out a way to like not have to go to my regular classes. So in our district, they actually had a vocational school, so you could go there, you could learn tech, you could do welding, you could do nursing. So I ended up doing tech, and I got my CompTIA A+ certification at 16. I got my computer science degree, did multiple internships while I was there, and that really helped me get my first job with Raytheon.
What advice do you have for others who want to get involved in this?
The best advice is just to get started and then focus on the certifications that actually get you a skill. I have the CompTIA A+, I have the CompTIA Security Plus, and I have the AWS Cloud Certified Practitioner Cert. For your career, like what's going to help you out the most is once you get your foot in the door, is really focus on job hopping.
I'm a nurse anesthetist.
How much do you make?
Last year I made $280.
How long have you been doing it?
2 years.
What educational background do you need to get into this?
You have to be an RN first. So I went to nursing school and then I had to work in the ICU for at least a year.
Nice.
I worked there probably like 7 and then I went to anesthesia school.
Nice. And do you like what you do overall?
Yeah, I love it. Best decision ever.
Awesome. What are the pros and cons?
The pros is the money and the hours. The cons is a lot of responsibility.
Right. And how many hours a week are you working?
A lot. Anywhere from like 36 to 48.
Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
Hi guys, I'm Vivian too, aka your rich BFF and your favorite Wall Street girly.
Amazing. Vivian, how much do you make?
So last year I paid myself a salary of roughly around $300,000, but my business made about $3.2 million.
$3.2 million.
Okay, hold on, I gotta recover. Holy moly, that's amazing. Do you feel well compensated?
I do. I could always be better compensated, but you know what? I am the boss and I want to make sure that I have enough money to pay my team, pay for expenses, and just keep reinvesting back into the business.
What is realistic financial advice to give to average Americans that is not get a loan from a rich uncle or invest in real estate?
I would say you can only save as much as you earn, but you can always earn more money. I think we focus really heavily on cutting out every little thing that brings us joy, whether that's a latte or avocado toast or, you know, just a Netflix subscription. But instead, I think we also really need to talk about asking for a raise and a promotion every single year. Not saying you'll get one, but you should be asking. And just picking up a side hustle for a temporary period of time if there is a financial goal you're saving towards. So a side hustle might be helpful if you want to get a new car, or if you have to pay for a wedding, or you're really trying to bundle some of that money for a down payment on a home, even just putting yourself in a period of discomfort for only a temporary period of time can really help you out financially.
Barbara Corcoran, I'm a shark investor on Shark Tank, best known for that. I guess that's what I'll do. I'll go with that one.
We always ask people how much they make, and I was wondering if I could ask you, and feel free to answer however you feel fit.
Yes, well, with Shark Tank, I probably make maybe $300,000 a year. That's not a lot, considering I invest usually $1 million a year.
I hope a good return.
Yeah, a good return. Not so great. I think I do better with the bank, but I get the psychological satisfaction of making people's dreams come true, like somebody did for me once. Someone loaned me $1,000 once, and I started a real estate company. If I didn't have that $1,000, I don't know what the hell I would do. I don't know who I would become.
Thank you so much, Barbara. I really appreciate it. The audience is going to love that you actually gave a number. I was expecting you not to.
I thought you were going to ask me the general number, how much I make, like how much I make on stocks and bonds, etc.
Do you want to answer?
Yeah, about $4.5 million a year.
That's pretty good. Better than waitressing.
Yeah. It pays a lot better.
Pays a lot better. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate it so much. This is wonderful.
Don't tell the IRS.
My name is Mark Cuban, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Mark, do you remember what your first job was when you were younger and how much you made?
My first job was selling garbage bags door to door, and I made $3 for every bag I sold.
Do you feel like you were fairly compensated for that?
Yes, I do, because, I mean, imagine me just walking up to the door going, "Hi, I'm your neighbor, Mark. Do you use garbage bags? I'll bring them to your door. $6 for 100. I mean, yeah, it was an easy job. The one that made the most amount of money was when I sold broadcast.com for billions of dollars. I sold magazines door to door, garbage bags door to door, worked sweeping floors, worked opening boxes in pharmacies, worked as a bartender, worked as a bar back, worked at a bank, got fired, worked as a sales guy, got fired. You name it, I've got fired from that job.
Any advice for people that have been fired, especially in the economy now? Any words of wisdom?
So when you walk out the door, right after you got fired, instead of being mad, you just say, and you just get on with it and realize that happens. It doesn't matter how many times you're fired. I'm a perfect example. All you got to do is get it right once. And when you're young, you know, out of school, there are no perfect jobs. Like I went from job to job to job to job, but I learned from each one of them. And I hadn't done that and gotten fired and learned, I wouldn't be here.
Are you comfortable sharing your salary on camera with us?
I don't have a salary. I don't get paid a salary at all.
You don't get paid a salary
No,
at all?
I mean, I make money from my investments.
Your
And so when my investments pay me something, I do well. And when they don't, I don't.